All right, happy Thursday. And step aside, Zios. I am back on YouTube. Yeah, I know somewhere right now, Rabbi Shmuley is crying his eyes out. Actually, what he's doing right now is selling butt plugs, literally, and using my name on X. But here is the lesson. You can't stop me because my followers are built different. The whole she's unhinged bit did not work for them. Now we're trying the financial terrorism bit. That doesn't seem to be working. And there's also something that I've noticed, okay? So virtually every person that the media insists on telling us is crazy. I mean, I'm talking about from Michael Jackson to Kanye to Tom Cruise at one point. Well, their words are aging very well. I'm going to take you guys through some incredible clips of unhinged people from yesteryear. And like I said, they are aging like fine wine. On that note, by the way, Hayden Panettiere, remember that sweet little girl from Remember the Titans? Oh my God, look at her. She was so cute. Such a great little actress. Never ends well for a lot of these young child actresses. She's trending right now. People are enraged that People magazine published an interview that they recently did with her. And I'm going to let you guys be the judge of who is in the wrong. Plus, we have a small update for you regarding Lebanon. Some people have come forward to say that the American University in Beirut, they were asked to turn in their pagers for an upgrade, meaning that maybe they got a warning that those pagers were going to explode. We're going to discuss those rumors and plus more ridiculous anti-Iran propaganda to convince us that the war that the elites have already planned in their boardroom is completely justified. All that coming up on Candace. All right, so the obvious question is, what did I learn while I was in YouTube timeout? And the answer is, I learned absolutely nothing. Genuinely. I sat down and reflected. I was like, I'm learning nothing. And I'm wondering if now my children, when I put them into timeout, if they're seemingly sitting there and just being like, yeah, no, mom, not learning a single thing. It was not an effective strategy at all. In fact, more than anything else, I was interested. I was very interested in exactly which videos were pulled down because these became the dogs that were not barking. You know what I mean? Why did they target these videos in particular for such ridiculous reasons? And of course, the big one was the Kanye one, but also you should know they removed my interview almost at 1 million views after a couple of days with journalist Xavier Poussard, the journalist that broke the story that Brigitte Macron was born a man and lived as a man named Jean-Michel Trogneau. And he spoke a lot about a pedophile ring. Why would YouTube remove that for dangerous conspiracy theory, a harmful conspiracy theory? Who's the judge of what's a conspiracy theory and what's a fact? Who has to acknowledge the fact for it not to be a conspiracy? And like I said, the episode with Ye, where he is completely calm. What's really interesting is all of the interviews that Ye did when he was all hyped up and angry and screaming and ranting, like the one with Piers Morgan, all of them are still up. But this one, when I sat down with him and he was completely calm and speaking about Hollywood, he spoke about the tabloids, he spoke about the people who quite literally tried to convince him that he was crazy, gave him a fake diagnosis, and then fed that diagnosis to TMZ. He spoke about handlers in particular that were there to try to convince him that he was crazy. Why would that be taken down? Let's actually start there because that got me thinking. I was rewatching that interview to see what it was that would have triggered people to get it pulled down. And I suddenly remembered that Dave Chappelle is not the first person to have said that exact same thing. I mean, Kanye West was not the same person to have said that exact same thing. In fact, Dave Chappelle said it before Ye did, that exact same narrative. Dave Chappelle notoriously took a break. We were told that Dave Chappelle was crazy. I think we were even told that he was bipolar. He had definitely had something going on when he went away. And then he came back and he sat down with Oprah and he spoke about handlers. He spoke about people offering him $50 million, which he decided to turn down when he recognized that these handlers were controlling him. He claimed that he was being used by them and manipulated by them, and that they had lied intentionally and told the press various things about him that were not true. One such example he gives is that they told the press that he had pneumonia, and then they tried to convince him to go along with that narrative to confirm the lie. And he said, no, I'm not going to confirm that lie. They also told the public that he was suffering from writer's block when he was just trying to take a break because he had realized that he was maybe doing a deal with the devil. And you want to know what's most compelling about that interview they did with Oprah back in 2006? He also says that they tried to convince him that he was crazy. Take a listen.
The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah. Like I'm sitting around, I was stressed out, but the people that were telling me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on.
Very interesting. So Ye says that there were handlers that were trying to drug him and to tell him that he was insane. In fact, they did end up drugging Ye in a hospital. And now Chappelle is saying that the exact same thing almost happened to him. And the media has told us that both of these men are crazy. And guess what? The year before that clip aired, Tom Cruise was also maimed and caricatured in the press. We were told that he was crazy, that he was a little loony, after he sat down with Matt Lauer and said this.
Here we are today, where I talk out against drugs and psychiatric abuses of electric shocking people, okay, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin? Do you know now that Ritalin is a street drug? Do you understand that?
The difference is this was not against her will, though. This wasn't against Brooke's will.
Matt, I'm asking you a question.
I understand there's abuse of all of these things.
No, you see, here's the problem. You don't know the history of psychiatry. I do. All it does is mask the problem, Matt. And if you understand the history of it, it masks the problem. That's what it does. That's all it does. You're not getting to the reason why. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance. I'm saying that drugs aren't the answer, that these drugs are very dangerous. They're mind-altering, antipsychotic drugs. And there are ways of doing it without that so that we don't end up in a brave new world.
Mind-altering, antipsychotic drugs. Speaking about the history of psychiatry. You don't know the history of psychiatry, he says to Matt Lauer. Why? Well, if you could pinpoint the exact moment, if you could literally trace it to one episode in which I started dealing with a full media firestorm of attacks when the media turned on Candace Owens, it was when I dove into, and you can look at this, fact check this, earlier this year, the history of psychology and Sigmund Freud. They went nuts. It's an untouchable area. You can't speak about it. But it's everything that you need to know. You should deeply research, begin with Sigmund Freud. It is dark, it is disturbing, and it is religious so far as it is like the Antichrist. And it's all real, it's right in front of your face. Very deeply disturbed, sexual, perverse individuals turned philosophy into what I believe is a fake craft of psychology, almost a form of witchcraft, which then became, down the line, Sigmund Freud's family, like I told you, created propaganda. That is Edward Bernays, his nephew. And the effects of that are what we are seeing today. Propaganda, psychology, mass psychoses implemented upon the world via the media. So they control these handlers that take over Hollywood. They insist, these handlers, on controlling every single person in Hollywood because Hollywood is the vehicle. It is the vehicle in which they can modify our behavior. We worship celebs, right? We follow celebs. We follow celeb trends. And so these handlers have to get celebs to behave in a certain way. In that same interview, crazy Dave Chappelle recalled being peer pressured by handlers to do something very odd, to wear a dress. Take a listen to this.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, why all these brothers gotta wear a dress? This happened to me. So the writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a prostitute. And he put this dress on. And, mother, prostitute. Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it.
Very interesting. Because, I mean, by the way, don't listen to him because he's crazy. Kanye's crazy. He's crazy. Tom Cruise is crazy. And also, I remember crazy drug addict, at least that's what the media says, Cat Williams, similarly told us that he was being manipulated by the media when they tried to convince the world that he was a drug addict, but he insists that he had never touched that stuff, that he had never touched crack cocaine. And he also spoke out about this peer pressure for people in Hollywood to start wearing dresses. Take a listen to Cat Williams speaking to Joe Rogan about that.
You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender.
Funny he brings up Baphomet because there is, in fact, a religion that undergirds all of this. And like I said, my entry point for recognizing that was looking up Sigmund Freud. And until the media accepts and the school system rejects Sigmund Freud, media accepting the reality about who he was, who his friends were, and what religious cult they were in, then you should have a lot of questions about where you're sending your kid to school and what exactly and who exactly they are following in Hollywood. Don't be naive. So the question is, who do you choose to believe? Well, I don't know. A lot of these celebrities who are getting maimed and caricatured have been correct about a lot of things. Some of them so way ahead of the curve. I mean, remember Jenny McCarthy? Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but back in 2009, the entire mainstream media apparatus came down on her. When she told the story about her son, Evan, who she took to get vaccines, and then he suffered a febrile seizure, which, by the way, is a warning as something that can happen on each and every one of the vaccine inserts. She then publicly claimed that the vaccines gave her son autism. Big no-no. Jenny McCarthy would not shut up about this. Take a listen to a conversation that she had with Larry King alongside her then partner, Jim Carrey.
Back in 1989, the shot schedule was 10 shots given.
10 shots given.
When I was a kid, what do we get, 3?
It's twice as many as anywhere else in 30 countries in the Western world.
But
we give twice as many shots as any of those countries. Why is that?
If it's vaccination and you're not against vaccination, well, what are you against? Don't vaccinate for this, but vaccinate for that?
Yes.
I think we have to choose which
Well,
ones
how
are
do I know
absolutely
which
necessary.
one?
You should educate yourself. We want to empower parents to educate themselves. Do we need to have the chickenpox? Do we need the hepatitis B shot on the second day of life?
I don't think we can afford to assume that the people who are charged with our public health any longer have our best interests at heart all the time.
So what do you think, guys? What do you think? Do you think all of these celebrities truly are, and I want you to go back and find these articles, are crazy? Conspiracy theorists have lost their minds, need to be medicated with antipsychotics, are dangerous. Gosh, Tom Cruise, dangerous. Jenny McCarthy, dangerous. What they are saying. Candace Owens, dangerous for YouTube. I'm profiting off of conspiracy theories and hatred. Were they doing the exact same thing? Or are we waking up to something? Here's the good news. I think we have reached critical mass. I think when you get to the point that they are now trying to manipulate the markets, trying to silence voices, and they are failing at that, when they ban you off of YouTube and you are at the top of the Spotify charts because people know that they are being duped by the mainstream media, I think that's a good sign. I think that no matter what, you should be encouraged. And maybe we should be thanking all of the crazy, unhinged people for having the courage to say what is true. And that's all I'm going to say about that topic. By the way, you guys, some exciting news. We just launched our new store on Sticker Mule. It's packed with awesome Candace Owens merch, including stickers, t-shirts, and more. You can go to stickermule.com/Candace and check it out right now. A big portion of the sales goes directly to the Candace Show, supporting our mission to empower communities and promote free thought, not jailed thought, YouTube. So whether you want to show your support or just grab some cool gear, we got you covered. Once again, you can go to stickermule.com/Candace. Go check it out right now. All right, let's get to this Hayden Panettiere story. Very sad. I actually have covered her on my show for a long bit and in my previous show as well, because man, how they fall. And it's really interesting to understand that there is clearly something going on in Hollywood, has been going on for a very long time. And there is no person that is more vulnerable to that demonic force than children. I cannot believe any parent would want their child to be a child actress, given everything that we know about the beginning of Hollywood, the middle of Hollywood, everything that has happened in Hollywood since it was established. And Hayden Panettiere, like I said, was this adorable actress who was in Remember the Titans. I mean, that's what I know her from. It's one of my favorite movies. Love Denzel Washington. She was a really, really, really good actress. And since having her baby, suffered with really bad postpartum syndrome, and she then...
This will blow everything we know about dementia out of the water. If you or a loved one is experiencing brain fog, forgetfulness, or loss of memories, this could be one of the most important videos you watch today. After studying thousands of brains in Okinawa, Japan, where dementia is nearly non-existent, and grandparents stay just as sharp as younger generations, well into their 90s, scientists discovered a breakthrough way to reverse and protect against dementia and other memory loss diseases. Dementia is a preventable condition for many people. If left ignored and untreated, it is likely to increase the risk of many other life-threatening diseases. This discovery is already helping 93,000 Americans break free from the heartache of memory loss and cognitive decline. For the first time in years, they are enjoying life with a sharp mind and wonderfully revived memory. For many, this breakthrough has stopped them from being a burden on their children and grandchildren, saving their families. You don't need to do any more brain puzzles or take expensive prescriptions that insurance companies don't cover. Your brain can be restored and your dementia symptoms can be reversed with this simple breakthrough. By discovering what exactly causes memory cells to deteriorate in American brains, these brilliant scientists developed the perfect protocol that easily repairs the cells and reverses all those agonizing symptoms, stopping memory decline in its tracks. Today, I'm going to show you how it's helping tens of thousands of Americans restore their memory and mental function. Tap Learn More to watch a short video. This free presentation explains exactly how to reverse dementia and other memory problems with ease and speed, while also saving hundreds or even thousands of dollars on prescriptions that don't solve the root cause. This brilliant method of treating dementia provides long-lasting results in an astonishingly short time frame. It's natural and has zero side effects. This solution is so simple, effective, easy to use, and affordable, no matter how severe your dementia may be, how long you've been suffering with symptoms, or what your family medical history is. It can be implemented into your daily routine in the comfort of your own home in just a few moments each day. Hundreds of men and women have been writing in to share how this new dementia breakthrough changed their lives and saved their families. The billion-dollar big pharma industry doesn't want you to see this video and discover this extraordinary, eye-opening breakthrough yourself. Tap Learn More below to watch the short, free presentation now.
Went into rehab a couple of times because she had a very traumatic birth. It was a very sad story, and she eventually lost her child to her then ex-husband, Vladimir Klitschko, or maybe it's her ex-partner. I'm not sure if they ever actually got married. And her child went to live with her ex, which is a very unusual circumstance. The courts will virtually always award the child to the mother, but she just has really never gotten, I would say, back on the wagon since that birth. So Hayden Panettiere did this interview with People Magazine. I'm going to show it to you now. And in the comments, people were going absolutely insane. Take a look at this.
She's beautiful and she came out just like me. I mean, talk about nature versus nurture. I mean, this little girl literally came out. Not just her face,
I'm not getting video on this,
resembling mine.
Oh, there we go.
But she is my personality. She just is. I saw her in her school play once. It was more of like a Christmas special thing, and she was more concerned about directing the kid next to her in his steps than she was about what she was doing. And I was like, leaving this poor kid alone. Like, just do your stuff. And she's like, come on, man, like, turn around. What's wrong with you? Going like this in front of everyone. I was like, that's mine. That's my kid.
Maybe she'll be a director.
Yes, maybe she'll be a director.
What do you guys think about that? I mean, the comment section was just explosive, demanding that people take it down, obviously pointing to the fact that she doesn't appear to be sober. Obviously, we can say that allegedly. You know, she has been involved in a lot of scuffles over the years, and it does seem that she is struggling with some sort of an addiction. Now, that could be, by the way, she could be a pill, she could have drank something, but the point is that she doesn't sound like she is clear, and every single comment under was demanding that people take it down, and many people were upset, saying, you know, why would they even allow her to do this interview? Why would they allow her to do this interview? Two ways of looking at this, okay? Yes, there are handlers in Hollywood who are trying to get you out there and trying to make sure that you still have a career, which may have been where their heart was, is just trying to change the news cycle about her, to present her as an adoring mother. And obviously they would not have an indication, I don't think, of how she was going to show up to this interview. But most people feel that she's just being taken advantage of, and that she clearly needs to go away and to get sober, and that it was irresponsible for people to have published this interview. Since this came out, obviously creating a firestorm, people reached out to People for comment. Page 6, reached out to People Magazine for comment, and they did not hear back. But Hayden Panettiere's rep told Page 6 that the actress was speaking about her brother for the first time. He had died. It was very emotional for her, and it had been a long and exhausting day for her, and that she was not under the influence. That is just not something that I believe to be true. They may not have known she was under the influence, but you are asking people not to believe their own eyes. And I do think that this sort of using celebrities when they're at their low point, it seems almost as though Hollywood encourages this. Like, they get celebrities addicted to drugs because it's easier to control them. And that, again, goes back to what we were speaking about earlier with trying to get them onto antipsychotics, trying to get them onto Xanax, encouraging them to do drugs, because then you can manipulate them. And you also know their weaknesses and you know their vulnerabilities. Sobriety is a guard against being vulnerable to dark forces. It really is. And we have a society right now that doesn't encourage sobriety at all, but it's one of the reasons why I do encourage it on my show, because when you see these tragedies in Hollywood, you feel that they could be avoided if people had a sense of spirituality, but also had their sobriety. And it seems like that is just something that you never see in Hollywood. All right, guys, I really want to get into this Brazil story because it is really interesting to weigh it against what's happening to me in Australia, where they are asking for my visa to be banned. I have to tell you the exact opposite thing is happening right now in America. Before I do, I want to tell you guys about Pure Talk because it's the cell phone company that I use. They only charge you for the data that you actually want. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, plus a mobile hotspot. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile want you to believe that you need unlimited data so that they can overcharge you. But the fact is, most of you are buying way more data than you will ever actually need. Do you know what you can do with just 5 gigs of data? You can browse the internet for 135 hours, stream 1,000 songs, or watch 10 hours of video. So stop overpaying for wireless and get 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Switching is so easy. There's no contract, no activation fee, and you can even keep your phone and your number. You just go to puretalk.com/Owens. Again, that is puretalk.com/Owens, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month with Pure Talk. Okay, so in Australia, you have a lawmaker, I should say, that came out and was like, I'm looking for Candace's visa so we can stop her from speaking because it's very scary. A mom coming here speaking about her Christian principles and maybe speaking about why she doesn't vax her children and telling her entire story. And I remember when this news when this first hit the news, I was genuinely so shocked. I told some Australian podcasters that I felt like Alice in Wonderland because that could never happen in America. Like left or right, you wouldn't hear people in Congress like proudly saying like, we're gonna ban someone's visa because we don't like the way they speak. And so when I saw this news article, which is that US lawmakers are currently demanding that a visa be banned for a Brazilian Supreme Court justice, I was just giggling because it's for the exact opposite reason. So in case you're not following what's happening in Brazil, for a short period of time last month, Brazil, they didn't ban X, actually X left Brazil because the government was insisting on being able to censor. And Elon Musk said, I'm not playing this game. I don't believe in this. I believe in freedom of speech. Very similar to what Pavel Durov did on Telegram. You have these people who are saying, listen, I would rather walk away and pull my tech away entirely than to censor speech or even to contour speech, trying to insist that only certain narratives hit the internet. At that point, when you lose freedom of speech, you have lost your freedom of society. That is the reality. That is why I was so shocked and outraged by the idea of Australia saying we'd ban your visa simply because we don't like what you have to say. Well, in Brazil, the people that are behind this are a lot of people, but one of them is a Supreme Court Chief Justice, Alexander de Moraes. And so our lawmakers, our conservative lawmakers, Rick Scott from Florida, Carlos Jimenez from Florida, Christopher Smith from New Jersey, and Rich McCormick, as well as Maria Elvira Salazar, wrote a letter to Secretary Blinken. And they wrote in this letter, we write to express our deep concern over the alarming suppression of free speech being orchestrated by the Brazilian Supreme Court under the leadership of Chief Justice Alexander de Moraes. Chief Justice has a well-documented history of curbing free speech, particularly against individuals and groups with conservative political views. His latest actions represent a culmination of a broader pattern of judicial overreach. And so what they are asking, they write this in the letter, therefore, we respectfully urge you to deny any application for United States visas or admissions to the United States, including revoking any existing visas for Chief Justice Alexander de Moraes and other members of the Brazilian Supreme Court complicit in these undemocratic practices. Yes, America. If you guys are watching overseas, you want to know why we're like, rah, 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 America, USA, USA. This is why, right? This is just such a fine moment. Like when our lawmakers speak out and they say we want to ban someone's visa, it's because that individual doesn't believe in free speech. Not the opposite way, not because we don't like the speech. And like I said, unimaginable. I was super happy to see this. And I just was like, I just love this stuff. It makes me feel so proud to be an American and to sadly recognize that I would think.
Best and worst dinner for your waistline. Sweet potatoes. Try to find the purple sweet potato. They're the highest level of polyphenols you can find. Pasta. Well, pasta, unfortunately, is basically pure sugar, and we store that as fat. Corn. Almost all corn in the United States is genetically modified. Genetically modified corn has a protein that is foreign to our system. It's called the cry protein. Rice. Rice is unfortunately one of the fastest ways to raise your blood sugar of any of the starches. But turns out 4 to 5 billion people use rice as their staple. And yet almost all of those people use white rice rather than brown rice. And 4 to 5 billion people can't be that stupid to do the trouble of taking the hull off of rice and making it white if brown rice was all that good for you. And that's because the lectins and the contaminants in rice are in the hull. So if you are going to eat rice, you got to make sure it's white rice. And if you are going to eat rice, you want to get white basmati rice from India. A lot of people are surprised that most of our weight loss or gain is actually controlled by the bugs that live in our gut. And we now know from both animal studies and human studies that there are lean bacteria and there are obesogenic bacteria. One of the tricks is to give lean bacteria what they want to eat.
Eating an avocado a day does not make you fat.
Avocados are really one of the best foods that you can eat. They're almost pure fat and fiber, and it's fiber that your gut buddies love. Tomatoes. Now, remember, tomatoes are not a vegetable. They are a fruit. And the scary thing about tomatoes is that the peel and the seeds have lectins. In fact, fairly nasty lectins. So if you have issues with joint pain, arthritis, this is not your friend.
People know that there's something wrong. They're eating healthier than ever, and yet they're sicker than ever.
And do you think it's stoppable through diet?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It all comes down to this key aspect of your biology. And most doctors have no idea about it. Instead of following the blanket advice doctors give to everybody, you need to figure out which gut type you are and start from there. That's when you can start to notice some big changes in your health. If you feel sluggish, bloated, or gassy after eating, if you struggled with consistent weight gain, or if you feel completely drained of energy even first thing in the morning, there's a very good chance you'll fall into one of the three major gut types. Finding out your gut type is the first step to getting your bloating, weight gain, or low energy under control. And I've included a link to a simple quiz you can take to learn yours. It's only a few easy questions. It'll take you less than a minute to finish, and at the end, you'll receive custom-tailored information about your gut type. This information is completely free. You don't even have to enter your email to unlock it. The best part is you can take what you learn and put it to use today. So go ahead and click on the link below to take the gut type quiz and discover health tips that work for you.
That there were so many things that we had in common with the Aussies, and we do, by the way. The Australian people have been like gang about everything and saying how wrong it is. But to think that that has seeped into their government, quite alarming. Anyways, I'm still waiting for my visa to be approved, and I will keep you guys posted on that application process. Also, if you're in Australia or New Zealand, there are very few tickets left. So if you want to see me live and see what it is your government is trying to censor, me and all of my mommy behavior, speaking to people and telling them about the values that I believe in, democracy and free speech, head to CandaceLive.com.au and you can get your tickets. All right, guys, moving on. So we've been telling you how we're going to World War III. It's already been planned in a boardroom. Get on board, guys. That's what we're doing. It's like that Mean Girls thing. Like, get in the car. We're going shopping. Like, get in the car, guys. We're going to World War III. And it's so funny because the deep state, the intelligence agencies, which in reality what they try to do is just Operation Mockingbird, whatever they want us to think. Now they're just doing the Russia hysteria playbook from 2016. Russia's hacking us. The Trump campaign is colluding with Russia. Russia's doing this. Russia's interfering in our elections. Well, they're taking that exact same script and they're doing it for Iran. It's incredible. It's literally the exact same script. Like, it's like these people are just not even creative. They can't create a new movie. So, they were like, Iran tried to kill President Trump. Even before we had any details, the neocons and the warmongers, the military industrial class, the radical Zionists were doing videos like, this could be Iran. This could be Iran. Yeah, that guy the guy from Hawaii looks like he was really buddied up with Iran. What? Same thing when the first assassination attempt that Trump survived, the intelligence agency said, well, we had received some warnings from Iran. Oh, yeah, because that kid on the roof with the long hair totally looked like he was gang with Iran. I mean, it's a nonsense. So yesterday, what was trending, and people were just taking the bait on this. I don't know what to do with people anymore. They just take the bait so easily. It was trending that Iranian hackers, this is CNN, look, sent stolen Trump campaign information to people associated with Biden campaign. Iranian hackers sent this information. Oh my gosh, how could they? Over the summer to Joe Biden's campaign. That is what federal law enforcement officials said on Wednesday. And as we always know, Our federal law enforcement officials never lie to us, except for always. Except the entire history of the FBI is them colluding to do awful things to the American people. In fact, it wouldn't be a far stretch if someone suggested that they were a domestic terrorist unit, given the history of the FBI. Like, you can't find even 5 years where the FBI wasn't corrupt. They've been, their founding was corrupt. They've been corrupt, hacking Americans, threatening Americans. It's like legalizing a gang. That's kind of what happened with the FBI, but let me stop because before I end up on their list. What's so rich about this, what's so especially rich is them claiming, first and foremost, why would Iran hack the Trump campaign to give it to the Biden campaign? That just, like, what information? That just feels so foolish. Like, give us more details here. So they're over there in Iran, and we're like, yeah, let's just hack the Trump email database. And like, oh, now we can see who they're emailing, and we're going to give that to Biden. What sense does that make? It just seems like a remarkable waste of time, but they're just giving anything to make the American people step into the simulation that the war that they already have planned with Iran is justifiable, because now 2 assassination attempts maybe are linked to Iran, and they can't tell us what that link is, against Donald Trump, and now they're hacking his campaign. But I'm so old, I remember when it was our own government, the FBI, that hacked the Trump campaign in 2016. I'm so old, I remember the Carter Page scandal. Call me crazy, but I promise you it was our own government going to the FISA courts. And at that point is when we were in the Russia spell, because this is before the Ukraine-Russia thing that they were already planning very clearly. And now you look back and you're like, Russia, Russia, Russia. Oh my God, Putin, bad, Putin. Trump is colluding with Russia, because they were already planning to poke the bear, because they want war with Russia and they want war with Iran. And it's planned and it's scheduled. And so it's just such a nonsense to see this stuff. And it does make me laugh, because I guess in a prior life, I was just so asleep to it and I would have read these headlines and believed it. But now I just see, like, the wars are decided in boardrooms, and then the instructions are handed out by the state of how to convince the American people to get on board with the war. It goes right back again when you learn about propaganda, when you learn about Edward Bernays, when you learned about how they manipulated us and they use Hollywood even. Like, every movie you saw growing up, the bad guy was German. There was a reason for that. There was an actual reason that you arbitrarily feared a German accent. They know how to manipulate you, even in the television shows. Like the propaganda of Netflix. Who are the bad guys always? Well, post 9/11, it's always a Middle Eastern guy. They dropped the German thing, and now it's like the Middle Eastern guy, because we just keep blowing up people in the Middle East, so they have to convince us that they are the terrorists, even as we just keep killing innocent women and children by the millions in places like Iraq. Anyways, enough about that. I'm going to tell you guys about American financing, because we know that the Biden-Harris economy has been a major burden on the average American. The wages are flat, the expenses are up, and it is very hard to manage to pay all of the bills without grabbing the credit card. If you're a homeowner and you're frustrated with that cycle, I need you to make a 10-minute call, no obligation. You can call my friends at American Financing, because interest rates are coming down and are now in the low 5s. If you're constantly carrying around a credit card balance each and every month with a rate in the 20s, American Financing can show you how to put your hard-earned equity to work and get you out of debt. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving their customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may not have to make next month's mortgage payment. So call American Financing today at 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or to make it easy, you can visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. That's americanfinancing.net/Owens. Okay, so this is going around. I will say that I guess there hasn't been a confirmation. There's been a statement, and that statement it doesn't really dissuade the interest that people have in the story. But obviously, everyone is speaking about the pager scandal. The pager turned walkie-talkies exploding in Lebanon, turned also, I'm hearing solar panels were exploding, and we're not sure exactly how that happened. And there's been this question of whether or not America knew about it, because we send billions of dollars to Israel. Is America somehow involved in trying to keep its hands clean? In fact, Skylar, do we have that clip of the press conference in Egypt? Okay, well, there was a press conference, and I believe it was Anthony Blinken saying, we know nothing about it. America has no idea. We're following reports, and we're seeing what's happening. Well, quite interestingly, a daughter of a doctor that works at the American University of Beirut said that her father was told to hand in his pager 10 days before the attack at the American University in Beirut, which would be a very interesting timeline. And this started going viral on X because people are going, okay, so some people obviously knew, and some people that are connected with America clearly knew that these pagers were compromised. So the American University of Beirut had to release a statement to combat this. And this is their statement. They're denouncing the rumors as conspiracy theories about the types of communication systems that AUB has in place, attempting to link this tragic event. Now, they said this. This is where it gets interesting. Our paging system infrastructure was upgraded in April of 2024. The go live for switching to the new system took place on August 29th, 2024. The scope of this upgrade was to enhance emergency and code communications as several devices and systems had become obsolete. Okay, so was she lying? Are you saying, like, yes, we did an upgrade on August 29th, and that upgrade, I would imagine, if it's a beeper pager system, would have required them to hand in their pagers, and you're just saying, essentially, you're calling it a conspiracy.
They could unplug the country. And then you have real casualties, mass casualties, and mass chaos, like true chaos.
Oh, yeah.
People are not prepared for this. They haven't thought it through. Our leaders have not prepared them for it at all. It's like, oh, it's on your iPhone. You don't have an iPhone, and there's no electricity, and there's no water, and there's no way to get anywhere. And that could happen. That's not science fiction. Like, that could happen soon. And we're not ready for it. And as you said, and people have not seen chaos. They don't know what chaos looks like. Chaos is completely different from that. Chaos is like you have no freaking idea what's happening, who's on your side, who's not, who's a threat, who isn't, where things are going. People are not designed for that. People can't handle chaos, and they go crazy.
A few days ago, I posted a video on here trying to spread the word about a devastating attack that is about to take place in this nation. How do I know? Because I recently got my hands on a leaked government report that talks all about this attack. And folks, every video I've been putting up, trying to tell everybody about it, they keep taking it down. So that should tell you something. So I'm going to get right to the point right now. This report that I'm talking about is in regards to a foreign attack that is going to put this country to a complete and total standstill. I'm talking about no phones, no internet, no refrigeration to store food, no heat in your homes, all of that gone. Guys, I didn't think it was possible either. Not right here in the US of A. Well, think again. Shit is getting serious overseas, and right now, we're next. It pisses me off that something this catastrophic is coming, and there's been zero warnings of it in the media. They know all about it, but they refuse to tell the American people. So what I've done is I've spent hours putting together an emergency documentary that'll show exactly what you need to do within the first hour of this attack to ensure the safety of you and your family. And I can say, with my connections as a combat veteran who once served this nation, I'm pretty damn confident my sources are spot on with this. So if you want to keep you and your family safe when this attack happens, I suggest you click the Learn More button below to watch my documentary while it's still up. Folks, God bless you. Man, I hope you stay safe.
You're saying, like, we just happened to do this. Okay, fine. But it's an interesting development. You're not denying anything that the girl has said. You're not denying that you changed your infrastructure. And by the way, you even wrote here that your paging system infrastructure was upgraded 5 months ago. But what did we learn? We learned that it was 5 months ago that the Mossad interrupted the supply chain of Hezbollah beepers. So your timeline is suspicious. Whether there's something there or not, and it really is just a coincidence, it may be a coincidence, but the timeline is pretty precise. That's all people are saying on the internet. I'm just pointing to what people are saying on the internet. That is interesting. And of all the places, it would be American University. I don't know. I don't believe a single word that comes out of the mouths of the American intelligence agencies. I don't trust Anthony Blinken as far as I can throw him. And quite frankly, I can't even lift him up, if we're being honest. So I don't trust this guy. Like I said, I believe that the war is planned with Iran, and it's going to be this strategy of kind of poking, and then there's going to be a response to that. And the next thing you know, it's going to be World War III. And as I showed you guys yesterday, I very much subscribe to what Putin said about this being something that is monetary, that everything else is just noise. It's because of the establishment of BRICS. It's because countries are turning away from the US dollar because the US dollar has become a form of thuggery to get people to kowtow to a Western narrative. You know, do this or else. So people are turning away from the petrodollar. Iran turned away from the petrodollar, as I showed you yesterday. Back in 2008, they said no more. We're not going to play your game anymore. And so you've got Brazil, and you've got Iran, and you've got all of China, and you've got these countries coming together, and they are challenging the hegemony of the West. So what is the West going to do? Well, they need a world war. That's the reality, guys. We got to be frank about that. All right, I am now going to get into your super chats. Now, YouTube, I am going to honor Rumble in this way. I have decided that I'm going to read your questions. Ooh, wow. I love that we are 22,000 live on YouTube. You guys, I love you. And make sure you share this video because YouTube will now begin throttling my content because I am still demonetized. I'm completely demonetized on YouTube. I can't make money here. Blah, blah, blah. Financial terrorism. We get it. I don't really care because I'm having too much fun. I love what I do. And I don't do this because I want to make money on YouTube. That was a nice bonus, but obviously I would rather simply tell the truth. Now, to honor Rumble and wanting to build that platform, we are going to do the question and answer segment every day on Rumble, but I will read your super chats, YouTubers, on Rumble. That link, if you want to catch that, just go into the description and you can find the Rumble link. Hit the Rumble link, subscribe on Rumble, and we're going to cut over. I'm seeing you guys in the YouTube chat. We're going to cut over to Rumble now and answer some of these questions. So I will see you, YouTube, tomorrow. I love you guys. 22,000 live is just absolutely amazing. All right. Let's read some of these comments. Hello, Rumble. Sarah writes that Oprah needs to be exposed. Okay, I have seen tons of conspiracy theories about Oprah. I have not yet looked into them. So I'm going to do that because I feel like the time is now. But I will say, whenever you look at her old episodes, and I never obviously wasn't an Oprah fan. I mean, like, she just was a little bit before my time. She was exposing a lot. Like, she was going into satanic rituals. She was talking about satanic cults. She was talking about vaccines. She was introducing, doctors that were fundamentally pro-organic health and were not believing in all these vaccines. Something clearly changed, and now she seems like she's a part of the machine. But the old Oprah clips are absolute fire. Puffy Pole writes, Canadian man spoke out about vaccines at a protest, and now he is being criminally charged, facing 6 to 12 months in prison. Colin McDonald versus His Majesty the King. Please help. Very dangerous. I think actually somebody also wrote me on Manect and spoke about that case. I will take a look into that. Rachel Rose writes, I'm so glad you are back live. It's sad how parents are so brainwashed to get their kids vaccinated. God gave humans an innate immune system to protect them against disease and infection. Agreed. And the disease and the infection today is your government. So I'm a proud anti-vaxxer. I really am. I'm so proud of myself for being anti-vax. As I said to you guys, we might be delayed, by the way, in dropping the first couple of episodes. It's just a tech issue that we're having with the old files. We were going to drop those episodes of A Shot in the Dark onto locals tomorrow. If it does not go up tomorrow, please just give us until the end of the weekend or early next week because we're in the process of trying to locate or get the full package of those files. Next person, Gideon writes, sadly, free speech isn't free on social media. We love you, Candace. Nope, it is not free. But I'm, like I said, happy to be demonetized as long as I get to tell the truth. I'd like to get paid to lie. That ain't for me. That ain't the life that I want. XR40 writes, fact is that Cruz might be one of the least crazy people in Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't like the situation with his daughter that he was completely removed from her life. We obviously don't know the specs of it, but, I'm not comfortable with the daddy absence thing that seems to be obvious between him and Suri Cruz since they left the Church of Scientology. But what I will say is that he is on the money. And I do know that one element of Scientology, which is, by the way, another religion that I would like to explore. I want to do this whole series where I sit down and find out what it is people believe. Like, I want to sit down with a Mormon, I want to sit down with a Scientologist, I want to sit down with a Hasidic Jew and really prod what it is that they believe, because theology rules the world. You got to know what people actually believe, and then you'll understand the way that they think and their contributions to the world. That's what I think. Anyways, back to Cruz and his Scientology. I know one element of Scientology is that they are very averse to psychotics and drugs. And there have been a lot of people who were drug addicts and became Scientologists and got clean. And for whatever reason, the mainstream media really hates all Scientologists, which is weird because I've never heard of like a Scientologist like walking into a school and shooting it up. And so it just was like a lot of people attacking Scientology out of nowhere. And I think it might have to do with land. I think the government hates Scientology because the Scientologists actually own a ton of land, which is interesting. But I know nothing about them. We'll look into it in the future. Sax Seal writes, "Hi, Candace from Israel. I am so glad that I've got people from Israel watching this show. Hello, Sax Seal. It is so good to see you." Jessica Torres writes, "Hi, Candace. I love your content. I hope you see this. Can you deep dive the election, specifically the ABC whistleblower, please? God bless, you're in my prayers." Yes, I have been staying away from election content, you may have noticed, because I'm quite bored with it. I do feel that it's a bit theatrical, it's a bit rehearsed, and that it's now kind of being occupied by, and I hate to use this word, like so many grifters, but there's something about it that just feels so forced and unreal to me. And I'm getting much more interested in psychology, theology, and understanding the way our human behavior is being modified. Like, I'm just not into it as much as I was before, but I do obviously cover things when they're funny or when they're interesting. So maybe the ABC whistleblower thing might rank as something of interest. Play It Out writes, "Hi, Candace, can you look into 23andMe, the Israeli company that deals with DNA and is owned by the Rashiki sisters?" I'm saying their names wrong, and it's weird that I'm saying it wrong because that's that YouTube girl, who are heavily involved in YouTube and Google. They gave all the DNA data to Israel. Listen, I never did it because as soon as you start telling me that I gotta like swipe, I really think that COVID forcing everybody to go up their noses and stuff, that we're collecting and putting our data into somewhere, and it very much deeply concerns me because I think with that, they can start to target viruses at people and to make certain groups of people sick, just knowing their DNA, knowing that something will impact a certain group of people more than other groups of people. But you guys know me. I'm a good old-fashioned conspiracy theorist because I think our instincts have been proven right, and 23andMe always registered to me as shady. Next mood swing, lastly, writes, "I wish you'd talk to Nicki Minaj. She's been outing this stuff for years and they are trying to take her down. She needs a platform with a smart journalist to ask the right questions." I would love to talk to Nicki Minaj. Nicki, if you are watching this, come onto the show. Let's talk about everything going on in your life. I do have a bias. My former executive producer pointed this out to me, that I have a bias when it comes to Caribbeans because my family's part Caribbean from St. Thomas, and she is right. She absolutely is correct. So Nicki Minaj, I am biased in your favor. And if you'd ever like to come on to speak about anything ranging from Hollywood to politics to what you have seen in the industry, it is an open invite. All right, you guys, thank you so much for supporting the show. It feels good to be back on YouTube and not care about the fact that they demonetized me. And it feels good that we're at the top of the Spotify charts. And I'm eternally grateful to you guys for sticking with me despite all the media hits against me. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
At a time when big tech is suppressing free speech, there's a place where your voice matters. A place where freedom of expression is cherished and the love of our great country unites us. Welcome to Truth Social. Here you're not just another user, you're part of a movement that embraces freedom and celebrates the American way of life. Join a platform that passionately defends our great nation while delivering breaking news, discussion, and original content. Because here at Truth Social, we believe in the power of our voices, the strength of our unity, and the promise of our country's future.
No task too great. We are Americans, and the future belongs to us. The future belongs to all of you.
Join the conversation. Join the movement. Join Truth Social, where freedom lives.
All right, happy Monday, everyone. You know what? Can everybody just be real quiet for a second? I want to see if we can hear it. No, I don't hear anything at all. Nope. Definitely not hearing LeBron James on the subject of Diddy, which is weird. I'm going to actually need to hear from LeBron James on the subject of Diddy because he speaks out about virtually every other topic. Nobody asks his opinion. He gives his opinion. He's lecturing us. He's called the king. So why stay mum on your boy? That's my question. Plus, Ice Cube responds to my statement that gangster rap was created by the feds. And Janet Jackson has a message for Kamala Harris.
You ain't black.
You know what? She's getting a lot of pushback, but I'm going to have her back here because I decided to fully investigate Kamala Harris's genealogy. And what I discovered is a shocking discrepancy which no one has yet come across. Internet, I'm going to need your help. Welcome to Candace. What can I say? What can I say? Well, let's start with Kanye West. There's something about Kanye West. He has a way with words, gets himself to a lot of trouble. And then when you revisit his words, you start to realize that he was making a lot of sense when you thought that he sounded completely crazy. And currently we're in that stage where a lot that Kanye West said years ago is aging like fine wine. Remember, it was him that told us that Diddy was a Fed. He was on a show and he was like, he's a Fed, he's a Fed. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, part of the deal when Diddy, notoriously him and J-Lo were in the club, they began ringing out shots, shooting in the club. And then Diddy sort of didn't get into a lot of trouble for that. And Kanye was saying that it's because he did a deal with the feds. And part of that deal was that Diddy had to control other people in the industry. So we are giving you your freedom, but on behalf of the feds, you are going to keep some people in the industry in line. So you can imagine the feds just like messaging, again, this is allegedly according to Ye, messaging Diddy whenever they want him to get somebody under their thumb. And of course, Kanye West would be someone that they wanted to get under their thumb. And Kanye also mentioned that there were a lot of entertainers and athletes who he claimed were controlled. Take a listen.
They can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name I won't name.
And we didn't know what he was referring to then, but I will say that there is something I've noticed about those names that he is naming. LeBron James, Beyonce, Jay-Z. Why is he saying these people in particular? Well, as we know, they have a lot of clout in Black America. In fact, Black America treats these people like they're kings and queens. In fact, Black America refers to these individuals as kings and queens. Yes, LeBron James is known as the king, right? Beyonce is the queen, Queen Bey. And whenever these people come out and they make a statement politically, everyone just immediately gets into formation, especially for Beyonce, if you get where I'm going here. Beyonce and Jay-Z were one of the first people that were out marching for Trayvon Martin. Remember that picture of them? They were out marching and everyone said, oh my gosh, that was it. Suddenly BLM was a thing. It was mainstreamed and you were not allowed to be a Black person that stood against BLM, because who would stand against something that the Queen herself ordained? And something else that I've noticed is that these individuals, they're all on the same side politically. Like, don't you think that's kind of strange? Wouldn't you just expect amongst different people for them to just have different opinions? Like, who do you agree with 100% of the time? Well, as it turns out, in Hollywood, you essentially have to be on the left. You have to, especially if you're a Black American, feed the Democrat machine. And the Democrat machine loves a good race bait, right? We're constantly having to tell Black Americans that, oh, just, one more hill to climb. If you guys elect Barack Obama, then the racism of the past will be over. Then Black Americans elect Barack Obama, and after Barack Obama's president, it seems like race issues are worse than ever before. Oh, it's okay, we've got BLM now, and if we just keep rioting and looting in the streets, then we will finally get the justice that we deserve. And truly, it's crazy to see this. It's crazy to see how easy it is for these celebrities